preacher, maybe 10 to 12. But anything basic like a barbell or dumbbell, I like to stick to 6 to 8. And two, when you're doing them, always remember, don't cheat. Just bring it up and squeeze. Doing this doesn't squeeze your bicep anymore, it just works your delt. And also,
most people overcomplicate arms. Lee's style is simple. One move he keeps coming back to, and that's why his arms never faded. Sleeves don't lie. If you're over 40, you already know the moment. You're still training, still showing up, still trying to stay in shape. But your arms don't feel the same in a t-shirt anymore. The pump doesn't stick. The shape looks softer. And when you look in the mirror, it's not just muscle you're missing. It's that feeling of power you used to have without thinking. That's why Lee Priest still shocks people. Because Lee is in his early 50s now, and his arms still look like they came from an era when bodybuilding wasn't about perfect lighting and fancy variations. Thick biceps, dense triceps, forearms like cables, not lean-in-one-photo arms, real, always-there arms. The kind that make men stare and ask the same question every time. How does he still have that? And no, this isn't a genetics-only story. It's a repeatability story. It's a story about one old-school movement that Lee never lets disappear from his training. One exercise that still builds arms when you're past the age most guys start shrinking. Meet Lee Priest. Lee Priest wasn't the tallest guy. He wasn't the biggest guy on paper. But when he walked into a room, you couldn't ignore him. He was compact, dense, and freakishly full. Muscle packed onto his frame like it didn't follow normal rules. And that's why fans still talk about him the way they do. Because Lee didn't look built, he looked compressed, like his physique had been forged under pressure. But what made Lee special wasn't only the look, it was the approach. Lee came from the old school, where you didn't overcomplicate training. You didn't need 1,000 tools. You needed a bar, a bench, and a willingness to push into discomfort without losing control. And that mindset becomes more valuable after 40, because after 40, your recovery is slower, your joints complain louder, and your training either becomes smarter or it becomes softer. Most men don't lose muscle because they aged. They lose muscle because their training becomes casual. They stop tracking. They stop progressing. They stop treating the basics like they matter. Lee never stopped respecting the basics. And that's why the arms stayed alive. The one move. If there's one exercise that shows up again and again in Lee Priest-style arm training, it's the most basic and the most brutal when done correctly. The barbell curl. Not because it's trendy, not because it's the newest science, but because it's measurable. You can progress it for years, and it forces your biceps to face real tension. Tension they can't escape. Most guys do curls like cardio, lightweight, random variations, swinging reps, no structure, no tracking. Then they wonder why their arms look the same for 5 summers straight. Lee treats a curl like a serious lift. The curl isn't a finisher, it's an anchor. It's the movement that tells the truth. Because when you curl a barbell with control, your biceps don't get to hide. Your forearms have to stabilize. Your brachialis has to work. Your entire arm becomes involved. And when you build strength in that movement, real strength, your arms start looking thicker, even when you're not pumped. Make curls honest. Here's where most people lose it. They grab a barbell and their ego takes over. They rock their whole body. They throw their shoulders forward. They turn the curl into a half deadlift. And then they call it intensity. But what they really did is steal tension away from the biceps. If you want Lee-style arms, you have to make the curl honest again. Stand tall, rib cage down, core tight, no bouncing. Keep your elbows controlled. Don't let them drift way behind you. Curl up with power. Squeeze hard at the top, then lower slower than you lifted. That lowering phase is where older lifters win, because you can punish the muscle without punishing the joints. You don't need reckless cheating reps to create a growth signal. You need control that hurts. And if your form stays clean, you'll notice something. Your biceps start feeling the work immediately. The pump comes faster. The muscle burns deeper. And the next day, you don't just feel sore, you feel like you actually trained something that matters. Heavy, then pump. Lee-style arms are built in two worlds. First, a heavy anchor. Second, a pump storm. The heavy anchor is where barbell curls live. You choose a weight that makes you work, but you can still control. You don't rush it. You don't treat it like a warm-up. You treat it like the main event for biceps. Then you shift into pump work, higher reps, shorter rest, exercises that keep tension high without wrecking your elbows. Because the pump isn't just for show, it's a way to stack time under tension and create fatigue without needing max loads. This is why it works after 40. You get intensity without stupidity. The rep strategy. If you want arms that grow instead of just feel work, you need 2 rep zones. One zone where strength improves. One zone where the muscle stays under tension long enough to adapt. So your barbell curls live in that strong work zone, focused sets that force effort. Then your follow-ups live in the burn zone. That burn zone is where the arms get full, where the biceps and triceps swell, where you build the roundness people notice. The mistake most men make is doing everything in the same lazy range, either too light to matter or too heavy to control. Lee's approach keeps the stimulus balanced, strong enough to build density, high enough to build fullness. Triceps make arms big. Here's the truth most guys don't want to hear. Triceps are the real arm size. Biceps are the show. Triceps are the engine. Triceps are what make your upper arm look thick from the side. Triceps are what make sleeves feel tight even when you're relaxed. So if you curl hard but your triceps work is casual, your arms will never look monster. They'll look decent. Lee's arms look insane because triceps were never optional. Not even on days he was tired. Not even when he didn't feel like it. One strong triceps movement you can load and control. Then a pump movement to finish. That's the formula. That's the structure. The arm flow. A simple Lee-style arm session feels like a rhythm. Biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps. This keeps blood in the arms. It keeps the session moving, and it keeps tension high without needing endless sets of the same thing. It also solves a big problem men over 40 face, decision fatigue. You don't need 12 different exercises. You need a plan that runs when you're tired, a plan that doesn't require you to be motivated. Lee's style is simple. Pick a few movements, do them hard, repeat them for years. That's how arms become permanent. Why arms shrink? After 40, most arms don't shrink because you lost your genetics. They shrink because training gets softer, rest times get longer, sets get easier, effort becomes comfortable. You stop tracking weights. You stop trying to beat last month. And you replace progression with variety because variety feels productive. But variety without progression is just movement. It's not growth. Lee kept progression. Even when he wasn't chasing a stage, the standard stayed. The basics must move. The basics must improve. The basics must hurt in a controlled way. Elbows need respect. Now here's the deal. If you're over 40, you cannot train arms like a reckless 22-year-old forever. Your elbows will tell you the truth. So you train with one simple rule. Your joints are part of the plan. Warm up properly. Don't jump into heavy curls cold. Keep your wrists stacked. Control the lowering. Don't chase ugly reps. Pain isn't progress. Tension is progress. And if you keep tension high while staying controlled, you can train arms hard and still wake up feeling good tomorrow. The hidden arm secret. There's another truth that makes arms look bigger fast. Leanness. When you lose a little body fat, your arms don't always shrink. They often look bigger because they look sharper. The separation appears. The triceps line shows up. The biceps peak looks taller. So if you're training arms hard but eating like chaos, you're hiding your results under softness. Keep your food simple. Keep your protein consistent. Stop grazing all day. After 40, random snacking shows up in your arms faster than you think. The 7-day reset. Here's what I want you to do this week if you want a real change. Just 1 week. Pick one day for arms. Start with barbell curls. Make them honest. Make them heavy enough to matter. Track the weight and reps. Then hit one serious triceps movement you can control. Then finish with a pump superset that doesn't hurt your joints. And leave the gym knowing you trained arms like they were important again. Because that's what most men stopped doing. They train arms like an afterthought. Then wonder why their arms look like an afterthought? Final takeaway. Lee Priest's arms aren't a mystery. They're proof that the basics still beat every shortcut on the internet. Proof that one anchor lift, done hard, done clean, done for years, can keep your arms alive long after most men accept decline. So stop chasing novelty. Pick one movement you'll never skip. Make it honest. Make it heavy. Make it repeatable. And let your sleeves start telling the truth again. Now comment your age and your biggest struggle. Belly fat, cravings, low energy. And I'll reply with a simple plan you can actually follow.